Week 1, pretty much in the books. Couple
Monday
of games
night
tonight.
still.
Yep, absolutely. But for what it's worth, we can go with a little stock up, stock down segment here today.
Well, winners, losers.
Basically, who won the weekend, who lost. How about this guy? Perhaps the greatest quarterback in the game right now, Aaron Rodgers, ultimate stock up right now.
I'll preface this by saying that not every good player made the stock up. We went with 10 of each, so apologize, for example, to your Joe Flacco, who had a great week. He certainly qualifies as an option there. But how could you leave Aaron Rodgers off the list?
He's got to be first.
Like, how could you? Suffered the knee injury, returns to the game when I thought it was a lot worse than it apparently is for Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, he leads the Packers comeback. They were down 20-0, and they come back and win.
Extraordinary.
Unreal.
On one leg.
Question for you, is one-legged Aaron Rodgers better than two-legged Aaron? Because one-legged is just unreal good.
It was amazing. And we got to give a lot of credit, Tom, to the pass protection from that offensive line.
Good
they really stepped up in that second half, gave Aaron Rodgers all the time he needed, particularly on that Randall Cobb touchdown pass. Where
Unbelievable play.
Aaron
Unbelievable play.
Kind of like just limped over to his left and then fired across his body a little bit to Randall Cobb, who took it from there. It was amazing.
It was an incredible play there, and my answer to this question is yes.
Yeah.
They are. Or he is the best quarterback in the NFL. Sorry, Brady, you're great. If I have to have one quarterback for one game, one season, one drive, one play, give me Aaron Rodgers.
You know, somebody made an interesting point. Talent perspective, Rodgers is better than Brady, but in terms of the overall
most
package,
successful,
I want Tom Brady. But
I agree with that.
Be sure to type away Y for yes, N for no in the comments section. Aaron Rodgers' stock from a performance standpoint, Tom, up. Health standpoint, we don't know.
Mark. We'll talk more about that later in the show.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the next name here on the list, Myles Garrett. He's a player.
He's so good at football.
He's just a disruptor.
He had 2 great sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He was solid against the run as well. Now, he didn't win every play. Defensive linemen don't win every play. And I think in general, Cam, it's easy to forget how tough it actually is to get a sack in the NFL. Like, a sack a game is 16, and that would lead the NFL pretty much every single season.
If not top 3.
Yeah. So you don't get a sack a game, and even a sack every other game is going to put you near the top 10 among players. So to get 2 sacks in one game, that's when you know you did something right. There were times when the Steelers could not stop him. Now, he wasn't flawless for each snap, but he's really good. And this is why the Browns took him #1 overall. It's only a matter of time before he is one of the premier edge rushers in the NFL, if he's not already one of the top guys on the edge.
Can you imagine if Cleveland got Khalil Mack too? Because they inquired about him with the Oakland Raiders.
They might have won the game.
At some point, the Browns have to win a game. They are inching closer, baby steps. They tied yesterday with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see if they can win a game this coming week in week 2. Sticking with the Browns theme here, Denzel Ward, the cornerback for Cleveland, and one of the premier rookies out there, at least after 1 week.
Well, when you break up 3 passes and pick off Big Ben twice, you probably had a good day. Now, Pittsburgh threw it a lot. Denzel Ward did give up some receptions, but 2 picks and 3 pass breakups, and didn't get destroyed every time by Anthony Brown. Yeah, he did give up the 1 touchdown pass, but that was like pretty much perfect coverage. What were you going to do if you're Denzel Ward there? So I was very impressed with him. He is on his way to being, at least in my eyes, a true #1 cornerback in the NFL.
So John Dorsey's just kind of dusting off his shoulders right now because everybody was like, get Bradley Chubb. And they went with Denzel Ward. And it's working out so far.
Good pick there. He was targeted 10 times, give up 6 catches, 50 yards, that 1 TD, but you pick off 2 passes and up with 3 total pass breakups.
You make up for it.
That's pretty good.
All right, so the question, Tom, when will the Browns win their first game since 2016? We had a different president back then.
You know who they play next week, right?
Who is it?
They go on the road against the Saints.
Oh, well, the Saints are winning the Super Bowl, so they're not winning that game.
Okay, buddy. I'm targeting the Jets in Week 3 as their first win. Yep. And then there are actually a couple ones after that. They play the Raiders, Ravens, and Bucs in the following week, so they're not necessarily each week. There's also a game against LA mixed in there.
I think the Raiders would be an interesting game to watch for as well.
Road game for Cleveland, but they're home against the Jets. So I think by Week 3, Cleveland will have their first win.
W coming on the horizon. I guarantee it, folks. Let's talk about Tyreek Hill. Everybody was like, oh, my God, so many touchdowns last year, totally going to regress in 2018.
Didn't this week.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait, I guess, because he balled out.
He regressed positively.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Back. No, Hill was incredible. 7 catches, 169, 2 TDs, and teams. Stop punting to Tyreek Hill.
He's in Devin Hester territory at that point, right?
He is so dynamic with the ball in his hands. why would you give him a chance to have another touch? Just punt it out of bounds.
Yeah.
I know that's easier said than done. Punting is harder than I think people give it credit for, but I would rather have a shank than to let Tyreek Hill touch the football. In space, by the way. I think the reality is that Hill is no longer one of the most dynamic receivers. I think he's just one of the best players in all of the NFL because he's so good when the ball gets in his hands.
He is what Tavon Austin was supposed to be.
He's better than what Tavon Austin was supposed to be.
There you go.
Because Tavon Austin was a little bit more of a non-deep threat than Tyreek Hill is.
All right, so who's going to win the AFC West? It was a very impressive performance from the Chiefs yesterday against the potential Super Bowl Chargers, according to a lot of prognosticators out there. Heart for the Chiefs, like for the Broncos, wow face for the Chargers, laughing face for the Raiders. I'm going to stick with my Broncos.
I guess I'll stick with the Chargers, but maybe it's going to be the Chiefs after all. Now, I said there was going to be up and downs for Mahomes. I thought I might see some downs, then ups. Maybe it's ups, then downs, but Chiefs look really good. Defense, not great, but they got by against LA. Big win there. We'll see how Oakland, of course, fares tonight on Monday.
I have a feeling that Tyreek Hill's price on FanDuel is going to go up quite a bit here for
probably.
Week 2. Today's show is indeed brought to you by FanDuel, the #1 app for daily fantasy. We've got a special offer, folks. Head to FanDuel.com/chatsports. Use our promo code chatsports when you sign up. Deposit $5. You get 20 for free. $25 to play with this week in Week 2, Tom.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, Cam, guys, DM us on Twitter,
Let's
at
go.
WhatGoingDowney, at Mr. Rogers99. We have free game this week. Winner gets $50. Hey, if you beat us, we'll give you $50 for free, and the entry is free. All you got to do, DM us for more information, at WhatGoingDowney, at Mr. Rogers. Cam, did you win your matchup this week?
No, actually I finished in last. So,
oh, God, Cam.
Yeah.
I at least finished in third.
My credibility is quite bad at this
So
point.
we both lost. DM us, see if you can take us down this week.
All right, let's continue along here. Stock up, stock down. Adrian Peterson, stock is up. How about that volume yesterday? 29 carries, 96 yards in total, 1 touchdown. He also had 70 receiving.
Which is not Adrian Peterson's
it's
MO,
not.
but it worked for this week for the Redskins. Cam, I remember when Darius Geis first went down, and I tweeted out, and I'm going to keep patting myself on the back here, that, quote, Adrian Peterson and Chris Thompson would be a fun combo, and it is. You and I have both kind of knocked Peterson, me more so, because Peterson didn't make sense for the team because he's not a third down back and he can't up on special teams. But if he gets a chance to be the lead back, he can put up 30 for 100. That's what he did against the Cardinals. Expect something similar there for Adrian Peterson. Now the issue is if the Redskins get behind, you might see a little bit less Peterson.
Right.
But this was a perfect Peterson week.
All right, great performance for him
Oh, yeah.
against the Arizona Cardinals on the road, by the way. All right, let's talk about the 49ers defensive tackle, DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, boy.
He had an elite grade, according to Pro Football Focus a year ago. He's carrying that momentum into 2018. 7 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss as well. You know, there's a lot of worry out there in terms of the edge rushing ability for San Francisco, but in terms of the interior, no worry with Buckner.
It's okay if you don't have the most elite edge guy when you have an elite interior guy. And frankly, I think that's what DeForest Buckner is right now.
He is.
Vikings, iffy. Look, it's an iffy offensive line, so matchup does matter, but they had a tough time stopping Buckner. I think that, maybe not quite the same extreme of 2.5 sacks every game because you know it's not going to work out, but that type of play is what we'll see quite a bit from DeForest Buckner. I would not be surprised if it's an all-pro year for him.
Certainly a big piece of that defensive side there for San Francisco, Richard Sherman, and that secondary. It'll be interesting to see how they perform this season as well. Let's take a look at Michael Thomas, who is emerging into one of the more elite wide receivers in the NFL. I think he's approaching the Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones kind of discussion here, Tom.
I think so, and I think that because the Bucs had their unreal game, and of course we'll talk about Fitzpatrick here in just a second, folks, his play kind of got overlooked. Michael Thomas was 16 receptions for 180 yards and 1 TD. Like, that's insane for Thomas. And by the way, it was on 17 targets. Like, so when Drew Brees threw it to Thomas, it ended up being a catch. I think it got overlooked a little bit, but there was no more impressive receiver for me this week than Michael Thomas.
Is he the new Marcus Colston for Drew Brees?
I think he can do a little bit more for you.
Is that, am I short shooting him there?
Maybe a little bit. I think Thomas's upside is actually higher.
Okay.
But yeah, like he's like
Very
Drew Brees
reliable.
loves Michael Thomas. Thomas is a reliable player. He's going to put up big numbers every week, or at least a high floor too. Perfect pick.
Did you put this up
Yeah,
here
I
to trigger
did.
me?
Just
the
to make
Saints
Cam angry.
overrated.
They
I
lost
hope-
to the Bucs, dude. It's a fair question.
I hope in unison you are all typing 2 right now, because if you listen to me, The Saints are winning Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta this season against New England, and I know everything there is to know about football, so why would you go against what I say? Right, Tom? Always listen to me.
They're not overrated, but Cam, I warned you. Fade the Saints in week 1 against the Bucs and Fitzpatrick. Yeah, they'll be fine going forward. No, they're not overrated, but maybe that defense is a little bit.
I was kind of shocked, Tom. Patrick Robinson and Marshall Lattimore.
And the secondary, which I thought was pretty good, got destroyed by Ryan Fitzpatrick, who we'll get to here in a little bit. But, wow, was the only thing I had for that game. Wow.
Football, folks. What are you going to do? All right, still on the stock up portion of the segment here. Clayton Fejedelem. How about a performance for him?
Maybe the biggest surprise of week 1.
Yeah.
10 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and a fumble recovery, and a TD that all came on the same play to win the game. Or to secure the win. He was only playing because safety Sean Williams was ejected. That's why he was on the field.
Thanks, Sean.
Go figure how well that turned out for the Bengals. Now, part of the reason why the Bengals moved on from George Iloka was because they liked Jesse Bates, the first-year guy, and Clayton Fejedelem is the guy they liked as a former late-round pick out of Illinois. Turns out the Bengals knew what they were doing. Heck of a game by Clayton. Easy stock up for me, Cam. Plus, we had to put one lesser-known guy on there, right? Can't all be Michael Thomas's and Aaron.
Exactly.
Rodgers and Tyreek Hill's.
I hear you there.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue on here. Stick with the AFC North. TJ Watt made a play as the Browns were vying to win their first game in the last couple of years. TJ Watt blocked the field goal attempt, and we were tied.
TJ Watt also had 4 sacks in this game.
And that.
He looked incredible, and maybe he should have gone earlier in the NFL draft because dudes got themselves a good player, I think. By the way, Cam, I know projections are projections, but TJ Watt is on pace for 64 sacks this year. All right? He's going to shatter the record book if he keeps this up.
Folks, Tom had to actually use his calculator for that, too, by the way.
Math is really hard.
TJ Watt, though, I mean, I'll tell you what, the Watt family has some good genes out there, folks.
Is TJ Watt better than JJ Watt right now?
Hot takes.
TJ had 4 sacks.
Let's talk about Ryan Fitzmagic here. Now
the number 1 stock up man, right?
We have a quarterback controversy on our hands, Tom.
Do we, though?
I don't know. We'll see, because if Fitzpatrick can continue this and Jameis Winston comes back and Fitzpatrick is red hot, are we looking at a Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick kind of situation?
I cannot believe that Fitzpatrick threw for 417 yards, 4 scores, plus 36 on the ground, and a TD on the ground.
And he went to Harvard.
So remember, there is the circle of life with Ryan Fitzpatrick, okay? And this will take us into our weigh-in as well. The beginning part is he is your backup quarterback. Then he gets a chance to play because there's an injury or suspension or something, and he's actually really good. Mm-hmm. Then he gets paid or becomes the starter. Then all of a sudden he's really bad again. Then he gets cut. Then he's your backup, and so on. That is the circle of life for Ryan Fitzpatrick. So Bucs fans, we're currently in the he is your backup stage, and he's playing really well. So don't fall for it. And in the end, Cam, I get it. Like if the Bucs go 3-0, I don't know if you actually can pull Fitzpatrick at that point because Dirk Cutter's coaching for his job. But if you're the front office, how can you allow Fitzpatrick? He's not going to be your long-term guy at his age. You have to see if it's Winston or not. And if it ain't Winston, it ain't Fitzpatrick, you're probably better off tanking and getting a high pick for a quarterback.
What if the Bucs actually still play Fitzpatrick just to spite Jameis Winston? Which would be a bad move, but not shocking either by the Tampa Bay organization.
Would be pretty bad. I don't think Winston and Cutter get along that well.
No.
So I could actually kind of see it. But come back to me again in week 2, week 3. We'll see how Fitzpatrick is fared then, and if he's regressed, okay, it's not much of a debate there. If we don't need to, maybe he's still there.
All right, let's go negative now. Stock down, Marcus Mariota. Actually, somebody corrected me in YouTube comments today. I've been saying Mariota for the last 3 years. Mariota. There we go. You learn everything in the YouTube comments. All right, so elbow injury here, Tom. Unclear when he'll be back.
I think he's going to be good to go for week 2 and at least by week 3, but here's the issue. He hasn't been very good. Now, I think the injury did affect him as he played a little bit there. 9 of 16, 103 yards, 2 interceptions. Yeah, he had 15 yards on the ground, but my problem last year with Marcus was that a lot of turnovers in an offense that wasn't actually very good, and I blame the coaching staff for that. What if he's actually not the franchise guy, Cam? And that's my concern right now because he hasn't been good the last year in a game at all, really. He hasn't taken a step forward. It's got to happen soon, right? I mean, we just talked about Winston. He's been in the league as many years as
Same argument,
Marcus
right?
has. So is he the franchise guy? I still think so. I say that partially as a Marcus Mariota fantasy dynasty owner. But I think it's a fair question to have right now. And it's kind of a concerning one.
It is a concerning one, especially when you predict that the Titans are going to break out this year and win the AFC South. So hopefully Mariota can figure it out there at the quarterback position. All right, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons offense and particularly the offensive coordinator.
Done with
Steve Sarkisian continues to be the butt of the joke with the bad offense there in the red zone.
Look at the stats. The stats tell you everything you need to know. Under 300 yards, 1 of 5 in the red zone, 4 of 15 on third downs. How, Cam? How do you have one of the premier offenses in the NFL talent-wise, and how do you end up making them average at best? That's unacceptable.
You look at the roster and you're like, oh my God, this team should score at least 24.
Where the hell was Calvin Ridley in week 1?
Yeah.
Where was Mo Sanu? Julio Jones showed up. We'll get into some more stats for the Falcons. Literally no one else did. Sark managed to find the ways to get the ball to Julio Jones in between the 20s, but once they got in the red zone, they took him off the damn field. Steve Sarkisian's, I don't understand it. Like, I know that being a coach in the NFL is way more difficult than maybe I make it out to be, but, like, come on. Like, you can't be doing that. Get the ball to Julio Jones. I know you don't like fade routes.
I hate him.
You hate that. Like, how does Devonta Freeman have 50 total yards? How does Tevin Coleman have 45? Like, get your guys involved and have an offense that talent-wise should be among the NFL's best, not be actually downright bad.
Now, with that said here, Tom, the Philadelphia Eagles defense is a good defense, especially on that front seven with Michael Bennett and Fletcher Cox. These guys are solid there. So you got to give some credit to Philadelphia. It's only been one game. We can't jump off and just say that this is all Sarkisian's fault, and maybe he can figure it out after a week 1 poor performance, see what happens going forward. If Sarkisian continues to have really weird play calling, then yeah, I think it's got to be time that the Falcons should look to other options there. So type away A for yes, B for no about Sark. Let's go to the next name on the list. This guy stunk up the joint in Cleveland yesterday. Ben Roethlisberger, 3 interceptions, Tom. Classic Ben week 1 performance.
335 yards, 3 interceptions, and also 2 fumbles. So the yards, check mark, but that's a little too many on the turnover side of things, Cam. So don't let the yards fool you, or maybe even his fantasy performance fool you. Big Ben didn't fare that well.
Not good.
You should win those games.
All right, next name here. We'll stay with the quarterback position. Jimmy Garoppolo. Not too surprising that he struggled against Minnesota here, Tom. 15 of 33, 261 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Tough defense.
Is this going to slow down the Jimmy G hype train, Cam? I know you got the brunt end of it when you picked the Vikings to win, and you were right, by the way.
For once, believe that. Yeah, I mean, for Jimmy Garoppolo, it's been one game in the 2018 season. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings defense is no slouch, especially playing on the road, too. Everybody's like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo's going to be fine. Well, not when you're throwing and trying to dodge Harrison Smith and Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes and all these guys in the secondary here. It's a hard thing to accomplish, beating the Vikings in Minnesota there. Are the 49ers overrated? I don't know yet. We have to wait, get more data, if you will, for the 2018 season in terms of what the 49ers can do. And I will say this. The Vikings are going to get the #1 overall seed in the NFC.
I agree.
So there is no shame.
So don't panic yet if you're a San Francisco fan, but also, maybe pump the brakes a little bit too.
The writing was on the wall ahead of week 1. Hopefully you did not play Jimmy Garoppolo in FanDuel in week 1, but maybe you can play him in week 2. Hey, head to FanDuel.com/chatsports, sign up, use that promo code chatsports, and when you deposit $5, you get 20 for free. And you can play in our games as well this week. Free entry, Tom.
Yeah, $50 to the winner. DM us on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney, at Mr. Rodgers if you want more information. Cam did not have a good week, so you can play him. I also did not win, so you can play me too.
Hey, the Cardinals didn't win last week either, so Deone Bucannon wasn't particularly good at linebacker.
This is an off week for a good player in my eyes.
He is a good player.
He was targeted 7 times, 5 receptions, 106 yards, 1 TD. Most of those against halfbacks.
Yeah.
Just surprising. We'll make note of him. I'm not overly concerned, though, about Deone Bucannon. He's still a good football player.
The offensive line for Houston stinks, Davenport included, allowed 2 sacks, 4 hurries, and 3 hits. Shocker. Houston did not address the offensive line, and they're not performing well, Tom.
You know, we mentioned this before the season. This was our biggest concern, the offensive line. Julian Davenport is a raw player, and it showed. The Texans' offensive line made the Patriots' front look really good. 2 sacks, 4 hurries, 3 hits. That's not what Houston needs at all. They got to get better up front. Oh, by the way, Central Henderson actually did look pretty good. Is hurt. He's going to miss an extended portion of time.
Desmond Harrison for the Cleveland Browns struggled against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're talking about a Steelers team that ranked highly in the sack department in 2017.
I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise. Think about that many hurries and penalties and sacks because you're an undrafted rookie out of West Georgia. There's some talent there, but I don't know what the Browns expected playing a rookie undrafted free agent left tackle. You were kind of setting yourself up for some failure there, guys. Sorry.
All right, so there's Harrison. Let's talk about Ken Crawley and pretty much the entire Saints secondary, to be honest with you. But Crawley in particular, not very good. 7 receptions, 129 yards, 1 touchdown. Where did this come from?
The Bucs were bad, or the Bucs were great.
And Ryan Fitzmagic.
And they made fun of everyone. Marshawn Lattimore didn't look very good.
No.
Ken Crawley didn't look very good. Marcus Williams didn't look very good. 7 receptions, 129 and a TD. Ouch. All the Bucs receivers had great games. Evans and Deshaun Jackson, no surprise. The Saints corners struggled as well.
Ken Crawley didn't look very good yesterday. Tom and I look fantastic right now, thanks to Mizzen and Maine. Head to comfortable.af. Get a shirt for yourself. Sweat wicking technology. No ironing needed or dry cleaning needed. These shirts save you a ton of time, folks. So get it done. Comfortable.af.
You don't have to iron them. It's so much easier.
Never.
You can just put it in your backpack and go.
I can just scrunch it up, toss it in my backpack, pull it out.
It's a little
like
gross.
Brand new. Yeah, I know.
It's a little gross.
All right, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Stock down, Scott Linehan, offensive
Really the
coordinator.
entire offense because just like Steve Sarkisian, 264 yards, 2 for 11 on 3rd down. I thought the play calling was bad. I thought the game plan might have been even worse. I tweeted this out, Cam. The Cowboys coaching staff has proven to me that they don't have any idea how to use the players they have on this roster. Like, why aren't you letting Dak Prescott use his legs?
That's fair.
Beyond the quarterback draw, they didn't really do that all that much. Some scrambles, sure. Where's the read option? Where are the RPOs? Like, the Cowboys said they're going to make this offense Dak-friendly, and it didn't look anyone-friendly in Week 1. So I'm very upset with Scott Linehan. I know there are a lot of Cowboys fans who feel this way. I have no problem with it. Let Garrett call the plays.
Really?
He was an offensive mastermind before he got the head coaching job, or allegedly. Let him call the plays because he's coaching for his job. Linehan is not getting the job done right now. Now, he better get it figured out real quickly or else this Cowboys team and the offense is going to fall apart even worse.
You guys better get your barf bags out to look at this stat line here from Nathan Peterman. 5 of 18, 24 yards, 2 interceptions. One of them was the worst pick I have seen in my entire life of watching football. Completely airmailed Kelvin Benjamin, if that is even possible, right into the midst of Tony Jefferson. Peterman is just not a starting caliber quarterback.
Stat of the day for you. 10% of Nathan Peterman's passes, actually 10.44, have been intercepted. The NFL record for qualifying players, which Peterman does not qualify, is about 7.5.
Can I guess the name?
Statistically, no, because it's some random that I haven't even heard of.
Oh, really?
Statistically, Nathan Peterman is the worst quarterback in NFL history. I'm just saying.
So who should the Bills start at quarterback? You got Josh Allen, who saw some reps yesterday. There's Nathan Peterman, if you want to see more interceptions. There's Colin Kaepernick, who has an ongoing collusion case against the NFL. And then you have perhaps the best free agent quarterback out there, Cam Rodgers. Oh, that's me. Throw up a laughing face for that in the reaction poll here on Facebook Live. Be sure to comment on YouTube Live as well. Cam all the way. Sign me.
Josh Allen is definitely a better player than Nathan Peterman right now. But at the same time, do you want to actually subject Josh Allen to that? I don't know if you actually do.
It'd be too early, I think. It'd be too early to put out Josh Allen for an entire game. He saw some reps yesterday, like I mentioned, against Baltimore. It was a blowout situation. Valuable experience. But in the end, I don't know what Buffalo's going to do. They're probably going to trot out Nathan Peterman again, and it's going to be an absolute mess. But we'll see what happens. That was Stock Up, Stock Down here on NFL Daily, presented by FanDuel.